This is my reflection on Module 7. So, we're talking about Common Core state standards, and they have some key instructional goals, and those goals include using textual evidence to support their ideas. And I had to focus on this a lot last year when I was in a ELA classroom in the 4th grade. And I remember giving my first test and not allowing the students to use the book. And all the teachers said, no, you're supposed to let them use the book. And I was like, but they have the answers. And it was then that I found out that the new way of looking at it was that they need to be able to find the answers. Whereas I would think, hey, I'm giving you the answers. No, you got to be able to find it. And so I realized that my students had a hard time, even though we had read the story 2 or 3 times. We've answered questions, we've had discussions. Going back and finding the actual text evidence in the material was very hard for them. And so I make my science students this year do the same thing. They are allowed to use their notebooks that they've taken. They have to at least take the notes, but they're allowed to use their notebooks. But can they find where we talked about that in their notebook? Looking in their vocabulary, looking at our review questions, looking at the maps and diagrams and different charts that we've done, and having that text-dependent evidence. So you can't just say, I think the answer is this. You have to prove it. And I'm glad that that's one of the standards that we have now. Also, with current reading instruction, we focus on close reading, which uses that text evidence. And also, there's the constructivist approach. And the students use this based on their prior knowledge. It's what they've had in their background. Whereas some students are not going to have a lot of background knowledge. They haven't been to museums. They haven't been out of the city or state that they live in. Whereas some students have traveled the world. And I've seen this in years of teaching where I've taught in classrooms where the kids haven't left the street hardly that they live on. They stay in the same place all the time. And this year I'm in a school where a kid has said, well, when I was in Iceland, and another one says, well, when I was in France. And I'm thinking, they travel more than I do, and I love to travel. And they're able to look at things differently. And so being able to think about how we can expand children's background knowledge, give them these new experiences through text and through the different things that we present to them, so that they can then have background knowledge, even if they've never left the city they live in. They can then experience it through reading, and they have to be able to read the words and comprehend what they're reading. And then once they can go anywhere. They can do all these things that they weren't able to do before. And so reading does bring a whole new reality to them. So that's Module 7.